Hello, friends, and welcome back to Scaling Stories. Today, I've got some more highly upvoted posts from Best of Redditor updates for y'all. Like always, I'll be reading you the posts and giving you my opinions, and I'll also be working on building up my Minecraft world at the same time, so I hope you enjoy. Also, I'm currently only in Spotify's creator program, so watching on there would help me out a ton. Thank you so much for your support. Today's story comes from the Relationships subreddit. It was posted by Fiancé fightingthrow on August 16th, 2014, and was titled, My 26 female, fiancé, 29 male, keeps delaying our wedding plans because of his brother, 25 male, being in prison. Been with my fiancé for 3 years, engaged to be married for 9 months. Everything between us was great. We really get along. We like each other's families. Mostly more on that in a minute. And we both want to be married and have 2.5 kids and a house with a white picket fence and swimming pool, etc., etc. The problem is, we can't move forward or plan anything for the wedding because his brother is in prison. Long story short, his younger brother was drinking and driving with a friend in the car, crashed it, and the friend was killed. His brother was convicted of homicide by vehicle while under the influence of alcohol or something and was sentenced to 10 years in prison. It pretty much tore my fiancé's family apart. His dad refuses to admit one of his sons is a felon and pretends he doesn't exist and won't visit him. His mom is a mess, has serious depression issues, cries all the time, and can't keep a job. My fiancé and his other younger brother are somewhere in between. It upsets them to talk about it, and they don't like to talk about it. My fiancé didn't tell me he had a brother in prison until we had been dating for a year. He did not mention this brother at all before that, but he visits him once a month and mails him books and money for his prison account. His dad forbids their mom from sending his imprisoned brother money, so my fiancé and his other brother have to do it so he can buy candy bars or whatever in there. How this relates to me. I want to plan our wedding and was pretty excited when we were engaged. My fiancé was very hesitant to pick a date with me for months, and I couldn't figure out why. It started to make me worried that he didn't really want to get married. Finally, I asked him, and he came clean. His brother has a parole hearing in 5 months from now, originally further off when I first asked, and may get an early release. He wants to wait to see if his brother will get released before a date is set in stone because he wants his brother at the wedding. Basically, we have been fighting over this ever since. My fiancé wants his imprisoned brother to be at the wedding. He thinks his brother being at a big family celebration will fix all the problems in their family. Dad will be happy, mom will be happy, all will be fixed. First, I doubt that. I did not tell him that. But I think we have to start planning the wedding without knowing if his brother will be there or not. This will be his brother's second parole hearing. The first time, he did not get an early release because the parole board was not happy that his brother had not been going to AA meetings. My fiancé says his brother tried going, but is an atheist and was offended by all the mentions of God in AA. AA is basically like a religious thing, which I didn't know. I thought it was like a rehab thing. He still has not been going to the meetings, so I don't understand why they would let him out now. My fiancé told me to keep planning the wedding without knowing the date, but I tried to explain to him that you can't really do that. He told me to look at dresses in a catalog or something, which made me cry. Sad face. We had another big fight about that, and he accused me of being embarrassed to be married to a guy with a felon brother. I told him that wasn't true, and he asked why I never went with him to visit his brother. He asked me, right after we were engaged, to go with him to meet his brother. He said his brother wanted to meet me. I told him, honestly, that the idea of going to prison scared me. He said it was safe, and I said I didn't feel comfortable, so he never asked again. During our fight about this, he said his brother isn't a bad person, just made a costly mistake, and was serving his time honestly. I said I believed him. He then accused me of claiming that I was worried his brother would hurt me, which I said I never said. I was uncomfortable with just going to the prison, not uncomfortable meeting his brother. I said I would love to meet his brother anywhere else and would love to have him at our wedding. He accused me of being a selfish bridezilla who cared more about picking out wedding dresses than seeing his family whole and happy together again. I didn't even know what to say to that. I started crying, and he left the room and slammed the door. Sad face. It's starting to affect more than just us two. My parents know I am eager to start the wedding planning, and they know he is refusing to pick a date with me. My parents are going to pay for it, and so they have been planning things financially and can't put things off forever. They think he is not serious. They know he has a brother in prison, but I haven't told them why he's delaying the wedding planning, and they, in turn, think he is having second thoughts about marrying me, and they are starting to resent him for it. This is just ruining everything between us. We pretend everything is fine when we are out in public and around other people, but privately, we don't talk much anymore. We never fought before this. He never called me names before this. I'm really not a selfish person. I really would put off the wedding forever until his brother got out if I had known it meant that much to him. But at the same time, my parents are bugging me because they have money earmarked for paying for it. I feel like a horrible person for pressing the issue, and now he is mad at me all the time. I try apologizing to him, but he just says he doesn't want to talk about the wedding. I feel like his family hates me too. His other, younger brother glares at me now. His mom called me and tried to apologize for something and just started blubbering and hung up. I feel like I ruined everything. I want to start planning, and my parents were bugging me, so I forced the issue. Now things are ruined between us. ScalingStories Corner. So, I don't like how this relationship is playing out at all. I feel like an ultimatum of sorts is needed. Either her fiancé starts wedding preparations with OP now, or it's over. Or OP's fiancé and his family need to come together to talk about the brother potentially being released early and how they would react to him being part of the family again and invited to the wedding. And if that talk goes positively, then delay the wedding until the parole hearing. And regardless if he gets an early release or not, you're going forward with the wedding. And if the family's fiancé is not happy with the brother coming back into the fold, then you're also still going forward with the wedding. Because from what I can see, OP's fiancé is delusional that if his brother is released from prison, then it's happy family, happy life. Because his dad is straight up just literally denying the existence of said brother. His dad doesn't even allow his wife to send their son any money. So with a dad being like that, tell me how it's supposedly going to work out if the brother gets an early release. And also, if the fiancé refuses to talk about that scenario or go through with it, then I think it's worth calling off the wedding and possibly the relationship because he's simply delusional and in denial that his family will never go back to how it was before his brother got into that accident. And for the accident, of course he was absolutely stupid for drinking and driving. And his brother's attitude of refusing to attend AA meetings in prison just because they mention God kind of makes me like a little upset. Because what do you mean you can't at least just force yourself to sit through a meeting? And if you don't believe in God, then great, just ignore that part and endure it and get through it. I think that's the least you could do after drinking and driving and getting your friend killed if you wanted to get released early. And by the way, I know he's atheist, and I'm just saying that if he cares about getting an early release for his parole hearing, then that's something he has to endure. If he doesn't want to endure it, then he's not going to get his early release. And if it's not happening, then I don't understand why we're delaying the wedding for him. Also, lastly, if OP's fiance's family is talking or looking badly at her because her fiance says some crap to them, crap that's obviously not true, like if he started talking about how OP hates her brother because he's a felon and won't visit him in prison because of so, when she's actually just uncomfortable going to prison in general, then to me, that's kind of a deal breaker in a relationship. OP might not break up with him for that, but I think I would. Now, here are some of the top/relevant comments from the original post. Commenter 1 says, "Okay, so a few people have been quite hostile on here. They are not wrong. You really have dismissed and ignored things that seem like they'd be really important for your fiancé. And you're prioritizing your parents' inconvenience with money before the happiness of your future husband. And I can't believe the inconvenience is that great. Were you always going to get married in 2014? No, your marriage has not been divined by the gods, so they must have some flexibility with it. That being said, being made to wait in limbo does suck. The answer to that isn't to argue about it, but to plan rationally and have a grown-up type of talk that people planning to spend the rest of their lives together should be able to have. If your fiancé wants his brother there, is he willing to wait the whole of his sentence? Are we talking about waiting 6 years? Is that a deal breaker for you? If he doesn't want to wait that long, then what's the harm in planning it for some time after the parole hearing, say a year from now? That way, if it was successful, the brother will be out. And if not, you can still plan. You need to start a discussion, not an argument. Ask him what exactly he wants, because you don't seem to know. Then work out if that fits with what you want, and progress from there rather than acting like petty kids at each other." OP says, "First of all, I honestly did not know visiting his brother was that important. He had never invited me in the 2 years we dated before our engagement. He asked once. I said I would rather not, and he dropped it. This is a man who will bug me in text all day if he wants me to make BLTs for dinner. Smiley face. He never lets it go if it is important to him. He mentioned it once, so I thought he didn't care. Secondly, I did try to have a discussion. He didn't want to set a date until his brother's parole hearing. I asked him, what if his brother didn't get out because, as my fiancé has told me, he hasn't been going to AA meetings and the parole board didn't like that last year. My fiancé blew up and started this whole thing. Commenter 2, downvoted, says, your fiancé is an ass. Worse than that, he doesn't have a good grip on what reality is. This is a character flaw that won't lend itself to a stable marriage and family. He's really off in his thinking on more levels than I can address here. But I'm telling you, you don't want a kid with a man like this. Sometimes bad things happen for a good reason. When you end this, one day, after all the heartache and pain, you'll look back and be thankful. Obviously, just so you know you aren't crazy, the wedding should have been planned. And if he could make it, great. If not, that should have been fine too. Nothing should have been delayed over someone in prison. End of story. This is so stupid that I feel like I'm having to explain to a woman with a black eye that domestic violence isn't acceptable. It's that blatantly obvious. OP, downvoted, says, well, thanks for seeing it my way, I guess, but I'm not willing to give up on my fiancé. This whole thing has caused his whole family so much pain. My fiancé radiates emotional pain when talking about his brother. His dad said some incredibly awful things about his prison brother to the whole family the first holiday after the prison brother was locked up that startled the whole family and would, frankly, shock this Reddit. OP says to another commenter, God, I'm not. First of all, I think my fiancé is lying to himself if he thinks his brother will walk out of there and all their family issues will be solved. And I'm not speculating. He told me that he thinks his dad and his brother in prison will mend at our wedding because they both will have to go. Second, I would gladly wait the 6 years left until his brother is out for good if it made him happy, but my parents won't wait that long. OP says to another commenter, my fiancé and his other brother have been sending their brother in prison books about IT security or whatever. Their brother in prison wants to go to community college and get a junior degree in IT security once he is out, so he is studying while in there. Also, I think our state has, programs where prisoners get a free place to stay while they adjust to their regular life again. Maybe I'm being naive, having never met him, but I wouldn't have a problem with him staying with us for a little bit. My fiancé says his brother is a good kid. Just one night of drinking and driving after a college party changed his life forever. I believe him. We just live in a one-bedroom apartment now with a dog, so he would have to share the sofa with our dog, Coop. OP says to another commenter, my fiancé does think he is still drinking. He says his brother tells him stories about what goes on in there and says, I needed a drink after that. Fiancé and the other brother try to ask for more information, but prison brother wouldn't say with prison guards in the room. They think he is getting wine somehow in there. I have no clue how. Update 1 week later. Yay! Happy update. Everything was addressed. So, last Sunday, I finally decided I needed to talk to my significant other. I told him I wanted to talk to him about his brother. Remember, we haven't been talking, and things have been pretty lonely and quiet when we're just alone at our place. Even no sex. Gah. Frowny face. And we kind of have been putting on an act when we're around other people or out in public. I told him I wanted to talk about his brother. He immediately got angry and tried to start an argument. I just kept calm and said, I just want to talk about this calmly, and you should listen to what I had to say. He asked, very angrily, if I was breaking up with him. I said no and then told him I wanted to meet his brother. He said that I didn't have to do anything I was uncomfortable with. I said it made me uneasy, but I didn't understand how important it was to him when he first asked, so I wanted to do it for him and to meet my future brother-in-law. He smiled, squeezed my hand, and thanked me. He explained that he and his non-prison brother have avoided talking about girlfriends when they visit prison brother because they don't want to remind him of girls. It seemed weird to me, but okay. My fiancé finally brought me up to prison brother when he told him he planned to ask me to marry him. Prison brother said I sounded like a cool girl and wanted to meet me. My fiancé said he would bring me next time. I obviously never came for 5 or 6 visits in a row without an explanation. Yeah, ... frowny face. He said his prison brother is having a rough time in prison and feels alienated from his friends and family. The only visitors he gets are his brothers and sometimes his mother. High school and college friends pretend like he doesn't exist. Aunts, uncles, and cousins don't visit, except for one aunt who visited once and said she would pray for him not to go to hell. Remember, he is an atheist, so he took this poorly. My fiancé confided in me that prison brother has made some suicidal comments before, and my fiancé is worried he might try to hurt himself if he doesn't get out on parole this time. My fiancé wanted me to be like a new family member who didn't shun him and accepted him despite his serving time, so when I refused, yeah, some crap started boiling under the surface with my fiancé. That all happened last weekend. This weekend, we just got back from our big trip. First of all, things were really great between my fiancé and me all week. Agreeing to meet his brother really lifted the block between us. So thank you, Reddit, for telling me I was being a BTCH and that I should have met his brother when he asked. I was still nervous to go. My fiancé and I go pick up his other brother. We drive to the prison, which was 2 hours away. I am biting my nails. Somebody asked in my first thread exactly what I was afraid of. I'll tell you what. My fiancé told me his brother is in the state's maximum security prison. He is in there with murderers and rapists. His brother told my fiancé previously that there are fights every day, and guards sometimes have to break them up with tear gas and hard beanbag guns. I am basically imagining the movies The Book of Eli or The Purge. Just total anarchy and gangs all over the place. I thought guys would be leering at me, catcalling, and trying to grab me through chain link fences. That's what I was afraid of. Reality, ... was just a little different. Before we left, my fiancé told me they are kind of strict about what female visitors can wear, so I should dress like I was going to a job interview. So I did. We get there, and it is like the airport. A woman cop put us through a metal detector. She was really mean and strict, but probably had to be. One woman who was my age with a toddler, she must have been the wife or girlfriend of somebody inside, in front of us was kicked out for wearing a super tight white tank top and jeans, and the lady cop said, "We tell you this every time, Tiffany. You can't come in here dressed like that." Thankfully, they let me in. We went in, and there were, elderly grandmas and women with kids. A lot of kids, actually. It was kind of sweet, and a little bit sad, to see all the inmates getting their monthly or weekly visits with their kids. No worries about getting leered at or whatever. All the other inmates were too busy with their families and friends and didn't notice me. His brother came out and was totally different from what I expected. I don't know what I expected from the stories, but his brother was really funny, cool, and friendly, although he would kind of get oddly quiet at times. He asked me a lot of questions about what I did, my family, and what it was like living with his brother. Haha. That kind of naturally segued things into the wedding. He said he hoped he would get out in time for the wedding if he was invited. I said, of course. He was invited, and that we were waiting to plan things to see if he got out in January. He said he appreciated that, but he didn't think he would get out early. He later said what my fiancé had told me. He tried going to AA meetings like the parole board asked, but couldn't stand it because of all the mentions of God. He said it was unfair that his early release from a government institution was based on his involvement in, a clearly religious program, which I agreed with, and said we should just start planning our wedding, and if he's not there, we can celebrate when he gets out. My fiancé just kind of looked at me and smiled, and I wanted to start crying and hug them both. He told me a few funny prison stories, like how the only books in the library are religious books and awful grocery store romance novels. The books are donated, apparently, by heavy women who write letters to inmates all day, so they send them the books they like to read. I told him we would send him 50 Shades of Grey, and he was like, "What's that?" Smiley face. Finally, it was time to say goodbye, and I did start crying. I only have sisters and never really saw brothers show affection for one another before. Seeing the three brothers hug and say goodbye to each other made me cry. It's really clear they all love each other, and the one brother being in prison upset them all deeply. Prison brother hugged me, asked me to come back sometime, and said that I was better to look at than his brothers. Smiley face. And I said I would. I kind of felt sorry for him. The four of us were together in this room talking like equals. Then they took him away back inside a chain link cage again, and the three of us got to walk outside the doors, and it was like total freedom. Big difference. Anyway, all is resolved, aside from my future brother-in-law still being in prison. In the car, my fiance said if his brother didn't want us to wait, we wouldn't wait. Things between my fiance and me are now back to normal. Good things are happening. I thought some of you were intentionally kind of hurtful, but tough love works, and it all led to a good outcome. Thank you, Reddit. Scaling Stories Corner. I mean, it sounds like he's a nice person just based on the way OP wrote in the post about meeting the brother, but I still think his refusal to attend the AA meetings is kind of dumb. It's not dumb if he absolutely refuses because they mention God and he abides by his atheism to such a strong degree, but if it's for the sake of getting released early, can you just not endure it just like temporarily? Like, surely you can be strong enough to do that. And OP mentioning that the brother is still drinking wine or something somehow while in prison, when the cause of him being there is drinking and driving and getting to an accident that killed his friend, rubbed me the wrong way pretty hard. I would expect someone who endured that kind of situation to either become a full-on alcoholic because of what happened and they drink to like soothe the pain or something, or they become so disgusted at alcohol that they wouldn't want to touch it again because of the accident. I find it hard to see someone be able to casually drink after an event like that. As for the wedding, even if prison brother got released, I don't think their father would be accepting of prison brother's existence. But I'm assuming this situation is still fine though, because if a wedding were to happen, then both of them wouldn't cause a scene at OP's wedding, because prison brother would just be existing and his dad would be ignoring his existence, no matter how awkward that would be. And if that's the case, I mean, if it works, it works, right? I mean, it's their wedding, not mine. Now, here are some of the top/relevant comments from the update post. Commenter 1 says, "This is amazing to read. You've shown some very inspiring maturity. What irks me is that he simply can't suck it up about the God thing and just go through the AA meetings. Oh well, that's none of your worries, and you shouldn't mention it." Commenter 2 says, "Yeah, I know you see this as a good outcome, but the total breakdown in communication during all of this should be sending up warning flags for you. Before marriage, you two need to hit a marriage counselor together. That kind of breakdown cannot carry into a marriage. If you two sort out communication, then you can go into wedlock with the tools you need to make it truly go forever. Your point, my point, the brother's point remain true. Planning a wedding based on the future parole possibilities was absurd. It makes me worried that something so obvious led to such a shutdown. Your partner may need individual counseling in order to address his issues here. And, again, you two really need premarital counseling. Get it, and good luck." Okay, friends, so that concludes today's video. Leave a like and comment down below to let me know what you thought of it, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care.